In the peaceful farmland of the Dutch province of Friesland, the air is filled with the sounds of nature, the rustle of wind through the trees, and the occasional hum of a passing bike. It's a place where people leave their doors unlocked, where children cycle to school alone, and where nothing truly bad ever happens, until one day, it did. The murder of Marianne Vaatstra in 1999 wasn't just a horrific crime, it was a cultural earthquake. A brutal act that ripped apart a quiet community. This is the story of the girl whose name became a symbol, not just of a life lost, but of a nation forced to confront its deepest fears and prejudices. Welcome to Echoes Untold, where history whispers, and we listen. On the night of April 30, 1999, 16-year-old Marianne Vaatstra was out with friends celebrating Koninginnedag, Queen's Day, a national holiday marked by parties, music, and orange everywhere. She'd traveled from her village, Zwagwesteinde, to Kolum, a nearby town with more nightlife. Marianne was bright, full of personality, and popular in school. She had a talent for creative writing, often pouring her thoughts into poems and short stories. But that night, a minor disagreement with her boyfriend led her to leave the group and go home alone. She was last seen alive just after midnight. The following morning, May 1st, a farmer discovered her body in a pasture between the villages of Veenklooster and Biddenpost. What police and forensic teams found shocked the nation. Marianne had been raped and her throat had been slit with what investigators believed to be a knife. Her bicycle lay nearby. Just a few kilometers from the crime scene stood the Asylum Seekers Center in Kolum, home to refugees from Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, and other war-torn regions. Almost immediately, public attention turned there. The Dutch were grappling with a wave of immigration during the late 1990s. Tensions were already running high. The murder of a white Dutch teenager in the countryside, so close to an asylum center, was the spark many had been waiting for. Within days, police arrested Ali H., an Iraqi asylum seeker. He was interrogated, but released due to lack of evidence. His DNA didn't match what was collected at the scene. Still, rumors persisted. The community was inflamed. The center was the target of protests. Threats were made. People wanted someone to blame. And the media poured gasoline on the fire. The Vaatstra case quickly became a political battlefield. Far-right politicians used the case to argue against immigration. And the actual investigation was drowned out by public outcry. Marianne's father, Bouke Vaatstra, became a household name. Devastated by grief and frustrated by the lack of progress, he started appearing on talk shows sharing his belief that the authorities were covering something up to protect immigrants. In the fog of speculation, no one knew what to believe. Meanwhile, the real killer was still out there. For years, the case went cold. DNA evidence, collected from Marianne's body and the crime scene, was stored securely, but there were no matches. Hundreds of people were tested. All were ruled out. In 2007, new technology allowed the Dutch National Forensic Institute to produce a DNA phenotype, a visual prediction of what the suspect might look like based on genetic markers. The suspect was likely a Dutchman of Western European descent. This revelation dramatically changed the narrative. It wasn't a foreign asylum seeker. It was likely someone from within the community. But who? In 2012, Dutch authorities made a controversial decision. They launched the largest voluntary DNA screening in Dutch history, asking over 8,000 men in Friesland and surrounding areas to provide saliva samples. It was voluntary, but there was immense social pressure to participate. Refusing to give a sample was seen as suspicious. After months of sample collection, something finally broke. A man named Jasper, a 45-year-old dairy farmer from Oudwoud, was identified through a familial DNA match. A relative had submitted DNA that was close enough to suggest a family connection. When approached by police, Jasper S. confessed. He had lived just a few kilometers from the crime scene. He was married, with children. He had no criminal record. And for 13 years, he had kept a terrible secret. Jasper admitted to killing Marianne. According to his confession, he came across her by chance and acted on impulse. Psychological evaluations described him as intelligent, calculating, and capable of compartmentalizing his guilt. He returned to his normal life after the murder, running his farm, raising his children, interacting with neighbors. He had been questioned once early in the investigation but wasn't considered a serious suspect. In 2013, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison. While the case was legally closed, the emotional scars remained open. The Vaatstra family had endured years of grief. The case forced the Netherlands to reckon with many uncomfortable truths about bias, and it also sparked important conversations about DNA privacy, forensic ethics, and how justice should be pursued. Marianne Vaatstra's name lives on, not just in the tragedy of her death, but in the seismic changes her case prompted. Her murder led to expanded use of DNA dragnets in cold cases, legal reforms regarding forensic testing. The story of Marianne Vaatstra is one of sorrow and silence, but also of persistence, truth, and ultimately, justice. If this story moved you, share it. Let her name echo through time so her death was not in vain. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Echoes Untold, where history whispers and we listen. Fact check note: all information in this video is based on court records, Dutch forensic files, verified media reporting, and direct statements from law enforcement and the Vaatstra family. Sources include Dutch National Police Statements, 1999 to 2013, Dutch Forensic Institute, NFI, reports NOS News and RTL News Archives de Volkskrant, NRC Handelsblad Investigative Reports 2013 Groningen District Court Sentencing Documents for further reading, consult. De Zaak Marianne Vaatstra, RTL News Documentary, 2014. The Guardian, Dutch police use DNA sweep to solve 13-year-old murder, 2012.